Welcome to America's zombie apocalypse of emotional numbness. If you're a brainless, doom scrolling zombie, you gotta leave right now because nothing's gonna get through to that empty skull of yours. But if you're not a brainless zombie, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and share this video to help me change the world for the better. How about that? Classic idea, still a legit possibility. Who knows? All right, so today's topic for today's edition is money hungry zombies. Oh boy. Now, this is going to be a truly interesting one for sure. Let's go ahead and start off with the men here. All right, so the provider zombie. Sounds like a good thing, but trust me, it's not. All right, so the first male zombie in line. I put a roof over her head. What more could she want? Wow. That's all he cares about. He believes his financial contribution is the beginning and end of his job. Emotional presence, intimate connection, being truly known, these are luxuries, not necessities. Okay, so you see what we're talking about here. We have an extremist zombie that thinks that that's all he needs to do as a man. And unfortunately, it's really disgusting because these days there's tons of zombies just like this one. And they literally say this all across social media. Well, if I don't have any money, then I don't have anything to offer. What are you talking about? Have you ever heard of both of you guys making things happen? I mean, there's plenty of relationships all across the world that do this. They have dual income. They make it happen. And there are a lot of couples who are happy this way. You know, not everything in this life is about money. So when you have money obsessed, brainless zombies like this, yeah, you don't have anything to offer, even if you are rich. Because you're not rich from the inside. You're only seeing your life as a bank account number, how much you have in the bank. And no real woman's going to want that. All the toxic brainless female zombies are going to be all over you. They're going to want to eat your bank account. Because that's what zombies do, right? They just eat everything. But not a real woman. A real woman doesn't measure your male prowess, your manhood by the size of your bank account. Now, it's sad that if you believe that that's not true, then you really are a brainless zombie. You really are. I have to tell you that. I know you don't want to hear it. But that's precisely what you are. Oh, he's just... No, that's a lie. All women care about is the bank account. You deserve everything miserable that's going to happen to you or is most likely already happening in your life. If you're going to spew out that vomit, that nonsense. Because that's all it is. Now, real man would say a roof keeps her dry. I keep her warm. Shelter isn't the same as love. It's just the baseline. Exactly. And what a baseline we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about the tip of the iceberg. Whatever analogy you want to use. There's so much more to being a real man that has absolutely nothing to do with the number in your bank account. But like I said, you gotta truly be a brainless, dumbass zombie to believe that money is one of the top, three things or the number one thing that women look for. You're going to get all the toxic female zombies, but not a real woman like you think you deserve, or maybe don't even know that you deserve, because there's nothing in that mind of yours. It's just an empty skull if you think like that. All right, so brainless male zombie number 2. I show love by providing. That's how I was raised. You know, it might come from a traditional classic sense, but there was plenty of dumbass male zombies back then as well. You gotta wake up to that fact. The black and white days had its errors too. And fortunately, I would say 50% or close to it did not think that way. Maybe even the majority in many cases. No, they knew that there was so much more to a relationship than just sustaining and being the provider. You know, the man of the house, blah, 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 blah. That's not all there is. So you could be raised to think that way, but it's ultimately your responsibility to change that course of thinking. Otherwise, history is just going to repeat itself. Another miserable marriage, most likely, if that's all you think about. He's repeating a pattern. There we go. Repetition. He's repeating a pattern without questioning it. His father worked and died early, never really known by anyone. He's on the same path and calls it tradition. Precisely what I said. A real man says, I provide because I love, but I also listen. I also show up. I also soften. Provision without presence is just a paycheck. Yes. And if that's all you think, because my father was like this. I pay the bills. I don't get involved in your guys' drama between my mother and the kids, right? My siblings, my brothers and sister, myself. He just pretty much, mostly 99% of the time, stays out of all of it. Because all he thought being a father was is just paying the damn bills. Hey, good for you, but that's only what 50% of being a father is all about. I would say actually less, honestly. What about connecting with your children and being a romantic husband? Because I know for a fact that my mother was not happy, and to this day is still not happy with that guy. Like a deadbeat from the inside we're talking about. If that's all you think being a father is paying the bills and telling your children be cool, stay in school, and that's all you have to offer, it's pathetic. Oh, but I pay the bills. Yeah, okay, that's what you're supposed to do because you chose to have kids and you chose to be married. That's your decision. How good of a father are you? How good of a husband are you? Because if all you do is pay the bills, that's pretty useless in the grand scheme of things. Sure, you might keep the process of your life going, but you don't nourish it. You don't give it true meaning and purpose. There's no passion. There's no soul. You're just a mechanical object. You're a robot and nothing more. You serve a certain purpose to keep the lights on, but there's no show. There's no light behind those eyes. Understand? All right, so brainless male zombie number 3. She never worries about money. She should be grateful. Gratitude can't be demanded. He holds financial security over her head like a bargaining chip. Oh boy, there's plenty of these out there too. Then wonders why she isn't more affectionate. A real man says financial security is the floor, not the ceiling. Precisely. I don't want gratitude. I want connection. She can have both. Exactly. That's kind of like what I say so many times. Why not both? So many empty-skulled male zombies out there, they argue, well, it's either this or that. I'm like, why can't you have both? Are you really that stupid to not realize that you should want both and that you can have both? Why do these empty-skulled zombies, I shouldn't even be asking why because they're empty-skulled zombies. They always got to put like a choice, between two things. It's like a dichotomy, right? It's only black or white, but you can't have both. Why not exactly? Because that's just the way it is. No, it's not. That might be the way it is for most toxic females out there who are not real women. And that's who you constantly go with. But that's not what it should be, right? There can be like 99 incorrect answers, but only one right answer that you don't want to acknowledge because, well, the majority are incorrect answers, so that must be reality. Just because things might seem that way doesn't mean they should be that way. For you. Let everybody else struggle with that nonsense. You got to do it for yourself. Make it happen for you and that person that you claim to love by your side. So yeah, this is horrible by saying she never worries about money. She should be grateful. Gratitude goes way above and beyond just financial security. You got to be grateful for the love that you receive and the opportunity to give that love every single day to the one you say you love. And to the one that says she loves you as much as hopefully you love her. There's so many forms of gratitude in the way you can do that. But it's not just about money. Money's powerful. Money can be fun. But don't say that that's everything in a relationship, because it's not. There are so many miserable rich couples and rich singles. They actually share their stories. That's why they get into substance abuse, or they have extreme bouts of depression, anxiety. They feel lost, and they have so much money. If money was everything, they should be the happiest men and women in the world, but they're not. Most of rich people are not. And that's why they run around from this party to the next. You know, even parties get boring. The most expensive sports cars and the most luxurious houses, they start to get boring. Yes, believe it, because it's true. The only reason you can't see it is because you're not rich yet, like they are. But if you were in their shoes, trust me, it's going to get old after a while. It doesn't mean that money is worthless and it's not important. It just can't mean that that's everything in your life. It can't replace everything else. You ever heard the song "Money Can't Buy You Love"? Because it can't. That's not where love comes from. Love is established, not found, not paid for. I mean, when are these empty skulled zombies going to wake up and realize that? I mean, they are awake because they're the Walking Dead. That's all they do is just follow the two arms extended before them. You know? That's what zombies do. They moan and groan and they keep moving forward straight into the dead end wall. Alright, so moving forward. So brainless zombie number 4 on the male side. I'm a good man because I take care of business. He's reduced his entire identity to bill paying. That's exactly what I was discussing earlier. Character, kindness, emotional availability. None of it matters if the bills are paid. But she didn't marry a bank. A mailman says, a real man says, not a mailman, taking care of business is what I do. Taking care of us is who I am. There's a difference. Exactly. So, business, there's a lot of different types. You can call anything business. It's none of your business. That's my business. I handle my own business. Business is the whole shebang. Okay? Business is another name for life, practically. Because it's not just the money you spend, it's also the time you spend, the energy that you spend, and the time, money, and energy you receive. And there's got to be balance in your life, giving and taking. Giving and receiving, better said, between your loved one and yourself, that person that you claim to love so much. But a lot of people, they just live these zombie, empty-skulled lifestyles not knowing what balance is. They're like, yeah, whatever, I heard that before. Yeah, you're not really learning anything, are you then? Because they go back to thinking that everything's about money and status, like power, the illusion of power and fame. It's just all illusions. That's not what happiness is built on, and that's not what happiness is. You can have a lot of fun, but guess what? It's going to get boring. It's like going to the club and getting wasted. There's only so many times that you could do that before you hopefully start to realize, I think there's going to be severe health consequences if I continue living like this, and it's going to get old. But it pushes them further down the path of substance abuse, of loneliness, of misery and bitterness. They'll just never listen. Brainless zombies. Alright, so the last male zombie under the category of the provider. After everything I've given her, this is how she treats me? He sees love as transaction. He gave things. She owes him behavior. When she doesn't perform the way he expected, he feels robbed. Okay, yeah, so this for that, right? Tit for tat. A real man would say, I don't give to get. I give because I love. Her response to me is hers to give, not mine to demand. Right, so love cannot be demanded. Try to look at it switch your lens to this point of view. Because a lot of people out there, unfortunately, especially the brainless zombies, they think this way. Although, when I say think, I mean that really lightly because they're brainless zombies for this reason. Because they don't think. So here's the problem, right? You think this or that. Well, I give her an expensive gift. I expect her to do something to me, right? Don't look at it that way. Because unfortunately, it's immaturity. A lot of males out there and men, they don't really, when they're real men, not just males, goofball males, they don't see things like this. Try to look at it this way, okay? If she doesn't want to give you anything in return for what you're giving her, then that's just a sign that maybe your guys' love is not as strong as you think, and that much needs to be worked on. Now, if this becomes chronic, where you feel that you're giving more than receiving in the relationship, yes, that's a valid problem. But you don't go demanding it like an accountant, because that's messed up. That's not being grateful anymore. That's being just pretty much manipulative and abusive at that point. If you're saying you need to do this because I gave you that, that's messed up on so many levels. Now, a lot of women, they feel like they give more than receive in their relationship, and they say, no, that's fine. I don't demand anything. I'm unconditional. It's stupid, because you're being a fool by not receiving as much love as you deserve from that man that you claim to love. So what you're doing is you're degrading yourself of the love that you deserve to receive every single day, just like he deserves to receive love from you every day. Granted, you guys are a healthy, functioning relationship. You guys are a healthy couple. But a lot of idiots out there, brainless zombies, both on the female and male side, they just don't get it. They don't freaking get it. You need to receive love every day from your partner. And you need to give love every single day to your partner. Otherwise, it's going to be a broken, completely imbalanced relationship. The more times you say, oh, it's okay, I don't need this, it's unconditional. Everything's conditional. Everything in this life is conditional. Why? Because a healthy, functioning relationship functions under the conditions that you guys communicate sanely in a loving way, that you guys love each other. The love is proven, it's shown, it's demonstrated. Because you can't just say, oh, I love you, honey, and don't do anything for her, or she doesn't do anything for you. What the hell is that? That's not love. You need to really go back to the dictionary and read these definitions. You have to give and you have to receive. Otherwise, one or both of you are complete idiots and not even ready for a lifelong relationship. It's not going to work. Like a car, the engine takes in fuel in order to burn, but it gives by taking you wherever it needs to go. But you have to give it the fuel in order to get from point A to point freaking B. You can't be this stupid to say, oh, it's okay, you can give me more gas and I don't know, I'll just go across the street. No, that's not why I filled up the tank all the way and I can't put any more gas in there. You're not going where I want you to go, where I need you to go, or vice versa. You don't give me enough fuel, we're not going to make it to point C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, whatever, all the way to Z. You can't be this stupid to recognize that everything in life requires a certain amount of balance. Sure, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be accurate. You give and you receive. Think about yin-yang. A little bit of yin and yang and a little bit of yang and yin. That's as far as I'll go with this, because going any further is just nonsense. For most empty-skulled zombies out there, whether they're males or females, they just won't freaking get it, I swear. They're like, no, I don't have to receive anything. I don't really have to give anything. Wow, just complete garbage. All right, so shifting gears over to the female zombies. The gold digger, yes. We have talked about this on this channel quite a few times, the gold digger. However, this is the point from the brainless zombie perspective, which is extreme. So, brainless female zombie number 1, his wallet is his personality, and I'm here for it. All right, pretty straightforward, as all gold diggers are. She says it like a joke, but it's not. She's genuinely attracted to what he can buy, not who he is. The lifestyle matters more than the man. Exactly. Well, that's what a gold digger is, right? Yeah, okay, whatever. He's decent. Show me that bank account. Give me a card. Spend. Just use and abuse, right? That's what a gold digger is. But a real woman would say, I'm here for him, his heart, his mind, his character. The wallet is just furniture. I'm here for the house. Right. So whether or not your man is wealthy, that's good, but it could be a curse. Because if all you care about is the illusion of wealth and being famous to a certain extent, it's going to be a very bumpy ride. And your relationship's not going to last. Everybody knows the fate of a gold digger is very, very dark. Karma, call it whatever you want. It doesn't end well. It never does. All right, so for all the brainless zombies out there saying there are no more women who want me for my heart, my mind, my character, you're stupid for that reason. There are plenty of women out there. They're just not screaming, pick me, pick me. Because they're trying to look for a great guy on a civilized, quiet, more quiet level. You understand? They're not out there on a billboard saying, I exist. No good woman, no great woman's going to do that. So really, just shut it. If you're saying the same garbage like, there's no great women out there, you're retarded. All right, so brainless zombie number 2 on the female side. 6 figures or no figures. That sounds pretty extreme. She's reduced men to income brackets. Love is a numbers game, and she's playing to win the highest bidder. She doesn't realize she's the prize and the prisoner. A real woman says ambition matters, kindness matters, connection matters. The bank account is just a number. It's not a person. Well, pretty much we know this, yes. But going back to what she says here, the brainless female zombie, she doesn't realize she's the prize and the prisoner. Yes. Now, greed is going to create prisoners of both men and women, if you allow it to. Money in general. It's not money that's a problem. Even technology is not the problem when people complain about, oh, technology, there's no more serious men or women because of it. No, it's not. It's how you handle technology, it's how you handle money. It's the same thing. How you and your life, how you handle it. Don't worry about everybody else. Just because it's a challenge for most people doesn't mean it has to be a challenge for you. You want to be a winner or a loser? It's your choice. It's your destiny. But if you want to meet a dark fate because you don't want to learn, well, that's why I said in the very beginning to leave if you're a brainless zombie, right? Doom scroller. Because they never learn. They never will. So yeah, 6 figures or no figures. We already know that this is an extreme case. So brainless zombie female number 3. I deserve the best. The best costs money. All right, so a high maintenance woman is what she's thinking here. She's confused best with most expensive. Yes, there is a difference. Diamonds don't hold you at night. Vacations don't know your soul. She's collecting things, not life. A real woman says, for example, the best isn't a price tag. The best is someone who sees me, chooses me, loves me. That's free and priceless. Absolutely. And that's what true love is built on. Everything that's free. You can have fun with money. That's great. You guys can save for a better time. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being rich either, if you fall in the category. But that has nothing to do with love. Because after all the fun and games, you still have to do what you still have to do in order to make the connection deeper. That's just the way it is. That's why the saying money can't buy you love. That's why it exists. So if you feel you deserve the best, what really are you expecting? Because if this is the best treatment, like, okay, he's going to pay for everything. That could be convenient. Maybe he doesn't mind doing that. But the best you have to demand is from yourself to him and from him to you. But that has nothing to do with money, though. Money's okay, but what do you value as far as the man inside the person that you want to be with, for you women out there? Because if you can't answer that question, don't waste a guy's time at all and his precious life. Because you're going to be the toxic one who doesn't know what she wants. You're going to be more like a brainless zombie. Because that's the path you're going towards if you can't answer these very simple questions. What is it that you're looking for in a man that has nothing to do with money? If you can't answer that freaking question, then you are a dumbass, empty-skulled female zombie. That's just the end of that. I'm sorry to put it that way. There's no hope for you. You can't change stupid. Once you pass the point of no return, there's literally no hope for you. Hence the term female zombie, because once they're infected with this greed virus, there's no going back. Sorry to tell you. But if you're on the ropes, you're on the fence, you're kind of like, well, I don't know. Maybe I just was thinking a little bit wrong here, but there's still time to save your mind before you turn into a brainless zombie, then yes, realize that you need to answer that question. What does he as a man have to offer me that has nothing to do with money? All right, so brainless female zombie number 4. I'm not interested unless he can maintain my lifestyle. Well, here we go again with the high maintenance, right? Her lifestyle matters more than her life. She'll trade genuine connection, which is what I was talking about before, for a certain standard of living. Then wonder why she feels empty in beautiful rooms. Exactly. That's what I was saying when I was discussing the whole love of money and money, that's all that matters in your life. You can have it all, but still be completely miserable. People just don't want to believe it. Until maybe, because it's not guaranteed, wealth, maybe it happens to you one day and you got to learn the hard way. And you think, well, how is that, a catastrophe? How is that a consequence? You'll know it when you feel it, if you ever get to that point where you're just so wealthy, you bought it all, you've traveled the world 5 times, and you just feel bored, you feel empty. It's not my problem, it's your problem. Now you're a rich, miserable, brainless zombie loser. Yeah, you have a lot of money, but you're still a loser. How is that possible? Because people value money so damn much that they forget what makes a winner a true winner. You could be poor. You can even live on the streets. But if you have your partner by you on the streets and you're happy, you're not really content, but she makes you happy, right? You're working on the content part, meaning that you're fighting for your survival. But as long as you know that you are both trying to fight for your survival, that should be all that matters. Now, granted, that's in a very extreme example, being on the streets. Nobody should be on the streets. So, by all means, don't get involved in a relationship if you're pretty much on the streets. It could happen, but chances are it's not really going to be successful because you got to take care of you first before you start taking care of your future happiness with somebody to love. If you don't take care of yourself first, forget about it. It's just not going to work out. It could, but it's just really slim, the chances. But we're not talking about that extreme. Just wanted to mention that because it could go to the extreme, although it's not likely. But with that said, yes, you could be rich and absolutely miserable. We have said that before. So let's go ahead and move on, shall we? So, zombie number 5 with the brainless female zombies here. All right. Love doesn't pay the bills. Oh boy, here we go. So, it's funny because money can't buy you love, but apparently love can't buy you money, is what she's saying. She just wants money. That's really sad. It's like the inverse. She says this like it's wisdom, but it's really just fear dressed as pragmatism. She's so terrified of struggle that she's chosen safety over soul. A real woman says, love doesn't pay the bills, but it makes paying them worthwhile. I want both. I won't settle for less. Yeah, absolutely. Like, if money's involved, that's great. But which one's more important, right? Obviously the love. Because once again, if you dare to say that money and love are just as important, money's important for survival, but it doesn't mean that that's the only focal point. And it matters more than love. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like I said before, survival first, then you focus on a relationship with somebody. But from there, it's all about love. Because you're taking care of your survival. Even if you're struggling, that's fine. As long as you're still maintaining things as best as possible. Whether you're the provider or you guys are dual working together in a relationship. That's fine. But this silly saying right here from brainless female zombies, love doesn't pay the bills. If that's all you give a damn about is the bills, you really are a brainless female zombie, not a real woman. You really are. You're just completely brainwashed, like literally no brain in that empty skull. Because if that's what's on your mind is money and lifestyle, that's a big difference from a woman who calls herself high maintenance. Because at least a woman who says, I'm kind of high maintenance, but if we can't afford it, that's fine. That's a mature woman right there. She likes to take care of herself, but when it's not possible, on that extra level, that's fine. See, that's mature. That's a mature woman right there. Because not all women out there are like, well, I'm high maintenance. You need to pay for everything. No, 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 no. A lot of toxic females are like that. But the real women, they don't say garbage like that. They're like, okay, honey, if we can afford it, that's great. Thank you so much. And show you some gratitude. Maybe a kiss. But I mean, I'm just saying that, the guys out there and the women out there who don't think like this, they don't think about what really matters most. Their fate, unfortunately, is going to be either a brainless male zombie or a brainless female zombie. That's just the way it goes. Like, because there's too many. That's why I call it the America's zombie apocalypse, of emotionless, people. Because emotional numbness means that you guys just don't even feel what it's supposed to be, being a human in this world, a loving human being, a caring human being. You guys are all just washed by all these illusions of love that are not even love. That's the problem. That's the zombie recipe right there. Where you listen to false preachers out there. I preach true love. And it is extreme because that's what it requires. You want the perfect recipe? How many people fight for the KFC recipe but still don't get it right? There was only one Colonel Sanders. So you can consider me the Colonel Sanders of true love. I got the recipe, but I'm giving it away for free. It's not a secret. So if you want to know much more, you can check out my digital book and watch my beautiful, unforgettable 1-hour movie. But in order to get that, you have to access my free website right here and become a free member. That's the way you do it. So it's up to you to dive deeper into that recipe of true love. But yeah, that's all for today's show. And you could possibly become a guest speaker on my show, Let's Talk About Love. You pick the topic, gladly have a one-on-one with you. Much love, everybody.